What's up, Abe Kislevitz here, and today I'm going to give you a walkthrough of some of my favorite ways to mount and film with GoPro Max in the 360 mode. So lately I've been filming all of my POV with GoPro Max in the 360 mode. I've realized that the wider the field of view, the faster your POV looks, and it definitely looks more immersive. By filming in the 360 mode, it allows you to have that versatile 360 video that you can zoom as far out as you want, and you can also choose the aspect ratio after the fact. So if I want it vertical for social, I can make it vertical, or if you want it horizontal for something like YouTube, I can have that option as well without sacrificing the field of view or the POV. When I'm filming POV, I typically like to have my Max just like I would mount a normal GoPro. And that way I have one lens that's facing completely forward, so there's no obstructions of the stitch line anywhere in the field of view. And then also it's low to eye level, so it's more of a good POV. And then the other thing that this allows me to do is you can think about that there's nothing above the camera, so I can still look up. The one thing that we could do is if you mount it on the very top of your helmet, there's no obstructions behind the camera, so then you can also look backwards up the hill. But I find that I'm not really doing that too often. One thing that I've tried is the bite mount, which kind of hangs below your mouth, which is a really cool POV because it's in between the eyes and the chest mount. You get a little more of those hands in the shot, but I find you can't look up because of the obstruction of the mount's there. So this has been my most versatile go-to POV mounting option. One thing that you do want to think about when you're filming POV with GoPro Max on the front of the helmet, like I have it here, is there's a new firmware update that just released that allows you to choose the exposure, either exposure priority of either lens or exposure lock completely. So I definitely recommend doing the exposure priority on the front lens, so it's only exposing for the front and then not taking into account a dark helmet to overexpose the shot. One of the most common ways to film with GoPro Max in the 360 mode is with a selfie stick, so you get that invisible floating selfie stick. The way that you get the stick to disappear is you just have the camera angled perfectly straight with the pole. So you can see that there. When we bend the pole this way, now you can see the pole in the shot even though it's 360, but as soon as we adjust the camera so that it's straight in line with the pole disappears. And that's the magic of the 360 software with the overlap of the lenses. Filming with a pole out in front of you is such an enticing shot because you can utilize almost any of the views in a 360 space. You've got nothing below the camera, a clear view in front, above, and then you have you, the subject, back behind. The cool thing about the invisible selfie stick is it doesn't matter what pole you use, you just gotta be cautious that the base of the pole isn't any wider than the camera itself. So if you're using that El Grande mount from GoPro where it has the standard QR base, that's actually wider than the base of the camera, so you're gonna see some of that mount in the shot. With the 360 camera, the longer the pole, the better the stitch at your hand. And so I definitely recommend using a pole that's about 20 to 30 centimeters long at the very least. Otherwise, you're gonna see some of those stitching artifacts in your hand. But the cool thing is you can have a pole that goes out as long as you want and it'll disappear at any point across the whole thing. So if you wanna do that shot, that's the magic floating pole while you're skiing, what I like to do is take the pole, put it kind of right in the middle in my hand, and then I also hold the ski pole in the same hand. So the pole that the GoPro's on completely disappears, and then all you see is my hand with a ski pole in it. The magic thing is by holding this ski pole, it doesn't look like I'm holding anything else in the hand, and it gets completely stitched out. So you get that floating drone shot. My friend Rick here is going to demonstrate what it looks like with the long pole on a snowboard because he's a much better snowboarder than I am. Rick, take it away. The next mount that I want to talk about with GoPro Max is what we at GoPro call the Narwhal Mount. And a lot of people have asked me questions about this thing, but it's basically a custom-made metal extension that goes into a normal GoPro QR mount. And then you have the GoPro Max at the very end. The one thing that you want to watch out for is having the Max perfectly straight relative to your mount. By doing that, you'll have the entire mount disappear in the shot, and that's why we get that floating camera look. Unfortunately, you can't buy these from GoPro, but there's a couple resellers online that have similar options. This one is a little more invasive. I like to tighten my helmet down pretty well, but you do get that floating camera look, and once your helmet is all locked in, you have both of your hands free for better skiing. The benefit of having this one way out here is you can actually look forward and get a pretty good POV angle of going down the slopes, and then you can turn it back on yourself and see you with an unobstructed stitch line. Once it's pretty locked down, it's not that bad to ski with. You just look like a big doofus. You just have to not care what other people think. Thanks for joining today. I hope you guys learned a little bit more about filming with GoPro Max in the 360 mode. It's not too complicated and you can get some really awesome results. Can't wait to see what you guys create.